Good morning and welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. It is hashtag Finally Friday. Also, happy Go Texan Day here in Houston. That's a pretty big deal. Rodeo is kicking off this weekend. Exciting times in H-Town. My co-host every Friday, Randy Ramsey, joined me now. Randy, always good to see you. Happy Go Texan Day.
Happy Go Texan Day to you. My daughter stole my hat to wear to school, so I don't have it. But I did get to see the trail riders. They come right by my house.
Yeah.
So I always love watching them. It's one of my actual favorite Texas things.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be making their way into downtown tomorrow morning. They'll be at Memorial Park tonight, riding into downtown. Big rodeo parade tomorrow. Should be pretty exciting. Are you going to the rodeo at all this year?
Yes, I'll be there 3 times. We have 3 sets of concert tickets, and then we usually go a 4th time just for the carnival because it's just too big. You can't do it all in one day. So I was super excited. I had been invited to the cook-off yesterday, but couldn't make it because I was teaching.
Yeah, I was invited to the cook-off as well, and unfortunately got other plans this weekend. So we'll be missing it this weekend. You know, I said this the other day, but believe it or not, the last time I went to the rodeo, it was in the Astrodome and ZZ Top was playing. I think it was like 2000. I haven't been since. I haven't even been to the Energy Stadium when they have the rodeo there, the Energy Center. You know, I remember when it was in the Astro Arena. Just haven't been yet.
Todd, it's like blasphemy. Like, that's a problem. That makes me like you a little bit less.
I don't like large groups of people. You know, it took a lot out of me last month to go to the Texans playoff game. But, you know, I just don't like large groups of people. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Well, never go on a Wednesday, and I only go like first thing or like right before the rodeo, go to the rodeo and the show. But yeah, that's when we do the rides and the exhibits. We go first thing in the morning and we get out while they're getting good, you know?
Right.
But
get
I don't
out
know how you
getting's
can,
good. Yeah. But
it's rodeo season.
If you go to the rodeo, try riding the rail, because I rode that Texans game last month and that was the way to go, man. No parking problems, no traffic. You're in and out. That is the way to go.
Yeah. We always park near my husband's work because they have a parking garage, and then we take the metro down, which is great.
There you go.
There you go.
We've got a show to do. We've got some special guests coming up, believe it or not. And we want to thank everyone who's watching us on Facebook Live and YouTube. We're here at 10 a.m. live just about every morning when HCC is in session, Mondays through Fridays. But there's no excuse because, Randy, you can watch us anytime in social media or on our cable channel.
That's right, because we're on X, LinkedIn, and HCCTV at noon, 5, and 10 Monday through Friday.
All right. You've got a guest coming up, but before we get to that, I want to introduce James Mable. He's the Interim Director of Alumni Affairs and also Career and Transfer Services, working in the Office of the Chancellor. James, good to see you always.
Todd, good afternoon. Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. Happy Go Texan Day. You guys have some career fairs coming up. Big deals for our students because they can get connected with, I imagine, part-time and full-time employment, right?
Exactly. A lot of excellent opportunities coming up.
All right. We're going to talk all about it, break it all down very shortly. I'll be with you in about 10 minutes. You know, Randy, I hear a rumor that you may be doing a film show on HCCTV. Is that just a rumor or anything taking traction there?
I guess we're talking about it. We'll have to figure out what form it takes, and we'd be very excited. But my first guest would be Ralph Nickerson, because he's one of my favorite human beings and a distinguished and amazing filmmaker who's so gifted and talented. I keep trying to get him to come over and teach because our students could get so much out of it. So that's my introduction to Ralph Nickerson, digital storyteller, documentary filmmaker, Emmy Award winner, cinematographer. The list goes on and on. Welcome, Ralph, to the show. And how are you this morning? You're muted, Ralph. You got to unmute. Yeah. He's like, but not good at Zoom meetings. Oh, still can't hear you. That's odd. Well, while we're working on our technical difficulties, Todd, do you want to skip over and interview James for a moment, and then we'll just flip? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's get James on, and then we'll get back to Ralph. We'll work out his microphone issues. James, thanks for pinch hitting with us. Oh, wait, hold on a second.
Check 1, 2, 3. Are we good?
There. Okay. James, shortly. A little technical issues. James, we're going to be with James shortly. Ralph, good to have you on the show. Randy, I'm going to let you take it over.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, Ralph. I wasn't trying to jump over you. It has been the day of IT. I had issues yesterday. Everybody's phones were out. Welcome. Okay, we are here this morning because I really love your take on the importance of Black storytellers in cinema, TV, and journalism. And I just wanted to ask you your thoughts on the subject.
Well, good morning, Anna. Sorry about that. Can you hear me? You got
I
me?
can hear you, but it's really garbled.
Wow.
There we go. That's much better.
Okay. You good? Is it good? All right. So I've been in television for a long time. First of all, thank you for having me on. And I worked in TV news and in video and film production. And I think the importance of storytelling, especially from the Black and brown community, is very important because I think who else can tell your stories better than you? And so as an educator, I like being a part of creating that next generation of storytellers. It's done so much for me in my life, and it's been a big part of who I am and what I am.
Well, you came and talked to my class the other day and inspired the heck out of my students. And I think it's really important that we talk about the history of Black cinema and how we got to where we are today. And where do you want to start?
Well, we'll start with Noble Johnson. I think it has to start with him because he was the very first, or one of the very first African Americans to have a production company. And he was good friends with Lawrence Chaney, and he did a lot of movies like The Mummy and King Kong and things like that early in his career. But forming his own video production company, he was able to hire Black actors, Black technical people behind the scene, which was something in the 20s was just not done, And from there, one of his friends was Oscar Micheaux, who is, obviously film legend. He created an era that was called, he along with other people created an era called the race films. And that kind of sounds like, bad, but actually race films were very important because they showed not just African Americans, but they showed the rest of the world that they were more than just porters on trains or playing the nannies or the mammy and things like that. In Micheaux films, Blacks were lawyers and doctors and detectives and teachers and all of those things, which at that point hadn't been seen in films. I mean, we were given Birth of a Nation, and that was the image of Black people.
Right. So these race films from the 30s and 40s were written, directed, acted, produced by Black folks for Black folks. I mean, rarely were white audiences seeing them, but they were available, which I think is terrific.
They were limited theaters. You weren't going to see these in the theaters in West Virginia or Kentucky or in the South, period. But there were great theaters in Harlem and other parts of New York where you could go and watch the race films. And they were very important because there were so many talented actors and directors at that time. And when I talked to your class, I told them about one of my favorites is Fredi Washington. I thought she was phenomenal, great actress. And I think had she been born at another time, she would have been a major superstar. But being a Black actress, her roles were pretty much limited. And, her famous film, of course, is Imitation of Life, where she played a Black woman passing as white. One of her downfalls was she was really light-skinned, fair-skinned, so she wasn't Black enough for some movies and she was too Black for others. So she was kind of caught in that middle. But fantastic actress. She was one of the inspirations for just legendary Hattie McDowell, who first African-American to win an Oscar. And the time was so wild then that, we talked about in your class that she had to wait across the street during the Academy Awards And she won Best Actress. She came through a back door, accepted her Oscar, and then was escorted out of the building. And this was that time period. It's like you're good enough to win, but we don't want you in the building. So having black films and having a format for other black actresses and actors to be a part of kind of made us feel, and the actors at that time feel inclusive and involved, and not just property on the set like a light or a tripod, that we were actually
Right.
involved in it. One of my
I was going to ask how, so that's the reality that we were in, and we've evolved not far enough, but farther than we had been. So how is new media helping Black storytellers?
Because now, okay, I'm an old man, okay? So when I first started in the industry, you had to have a contract. You had to have a deal with the studio. Now you can shoot and produce and write and edit your own movies, put it on Amazon yourself, or get a deal with some of the 2,000 streaming networks now, and you don't really need the studios. If you want to get massive distribution, okay, yeah, you still have to go to MGM and all of these people, but the audience that you normally are looking for aren't. They're not a major priority to the major studios. This is why Tyler Perry started out and took off so big, was because he knew his audience, and being a part of new media, he was able to, and he was on the ground floor, he was able to produce his movies, sell them on DVD out of the back of his trunk of his car, New Orleans, made millions, turn that into billions, turn that into a whole city that's disguised as a movie production company, but it is gigantic. And
I think it's so exciting, especially as we get to social media. And I'm looking forward to having more talks like these, especially Ralph's going to come to Swamp, and we're going to do a series of screenings that show race films from the 30s and how they impacted the future filmmakers. So we'll have more on the show about that once we have it scheduled. Ralph, we're out of time. Can you believe it? With us, it's like boom, boom, boom. And then we always run out of time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll have you back. And sorry about the technical difficulties.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right. Thank you both. And of course, going to college is one thing. Our goal for most of our students is to improve their lives, earn more, and get gainful employment. Well, James Mable has been helping our students here for years. He is the interim director of HCC's Alumni Affairs and Career and Transfer Services. Welcome back to the show, James. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Todd. Thanks for having me.
So we're in the middle of a semester. I imagine a number of our students are going to be graduating in the spring, or they just may be looking for part-time employment. Let's talk about the career fair season that's coming up. Where can students or employers as well register for these events?
So our career fair season is in full swing. We've gone through the month of February. We've had a couple of career fairs already. We have plenty planned for the month of March. Employers and students and alumni can visit hccs.edu/career hub to learn more about these events and to register for these events, as well as for students and graduates to see the list of employers that have already registered.
When students do come to these events, obviously, is it best to dress to impress, bring some resumes with you, cards if you have them? What do you suggest?
We do recommend that students dress to impress. When you're standing in line with the company, you may just have a few minutes. When you get there and you're at the front, they may speak with you for maybe a couple of minutes. So your first impression really is the lasting impression with that company. You want to show and demonstrate to them that you are serious about connecting with them in the form of how you appear, as well as the document that you bring, that resume. You want to bring copies of your resume to be prepared to have an informed discussion with that company.
If you already have a job, why should you attend these career fairs?
It's always important to have options, if you will. Always important to know what's happening in the field that you're working in or interested in. You never know when an opportunity may appear. The reality is that we need to look months ahead to see, where we'd like to work next. So attending a career fair is only helpful to expand your network.
And there's one website that students can go to. And from what I understand, they can continue to go to this website even after they graduate. Tell us about Career Hub.
HCC Career Hub is the entire, it involves the entire career services process. Students will have access to it indefinitely as alumni. They could continue to go to Career Hub to register for career fairs, sign up for networking events, on-campus interviews, and if they have questions about their career path or about their resume, if they want to brush up their interviewing skills, they could schedule appointments with career services specialists in Career Hub. Of course, they could view the job board and see positions that are posted specifically for HCC students and alumni, and they'll have access to the platform indefinitely after graduation.
You know, I know it's so important for students. I know in my own story, when I was going to college, I would go to career events, and I happened to sit at a table next to a lady who eventually became my boss, the news director of Fox 26 years down the road. But that's how I made that connection while I was in college, you know, and eventually I even took a class at HCC so I could go over to Fox and intern over there. How important, I mean, it worked for me. I wound up working there about 6 or 7 years later, but how important is to stress to students, go out there, get an internship, and how can you help them with that?
So I do believe before you graduate, you should have the opportunity to work in your field in the form of a co-op or internship. And as a matter of fact, HCC actually ushers this in by the curriculum that we offer, that just about every workforce program at HCC has a co-op or internship component that students will do before they graduate. And career services can assist students by connecting them with companies that are looking for interns via our job board and Career Hub. We also invite those companies to connect directly with faculty in those programs. So as a student is getting or closer to graduation and they're enrolling in that course, the instructors can support them. In our events, we do many career fairs throughout the semester, and we invite those employers looking for interns to those events to connect directly with students. That's how we can support students who are looking to gain experience in their field before they graduate.
And I know a lot of the internships are for credit, but a lot of them are paid as well.
And we specifically emphasize to employers that we want our students to be paid because we have a unique situation where, as I mentioned, students have a co-op or internship in their curriculum for their program. And that means they're gaining real world experience before they graduate. So they have value. And we think that in Houston, Texas, it's expensive. And, you know, students are working, students are paying for school. It's important for companies to compensate students for their time and their value.
If students are interested in these internships, can they go to Career Hub to find out more about that as well?
You're exactly right. Students can go to Career Hub to schedule appointments with the career services specialist that can assist them with identifying internships in their field that are posted in Career Hub, as well as the relationships we have with employers that attend our events throughout the year. So I highly recommend that a student who's interested in finding an internship in their field to schedule an appointment with us in Career Hub, and we can support them there.
If you're going to school this semester and also in the fall, and you're saying, okay, I do want one of these paid internships, would now be the time to register for the fall to get that on moving?
Exactly, because the job process takes months. So if you have a co-op or internship that's taking place in the fall, that means it's starting the first week of school in August. It's important to start looking for that internship right now, months in advance. Come to the career fairs because companies sometimes hire a quarter ahead of time, months ahead of time. You know, just because they're attending a career fair in March doesn't mean they're going to literally hire in March or April. They may have plans to hire candidates over the summer or in the fall or even next year. So it's important that students start networking and getting out there and connecting months in advance.
I know, James, you're recently appointed as the interim director of HCC's Alumni Affairs. What are the plans on reaching out to our alumni right now in a thumbnail sketch?
So in the infancy of starting the Office of Alumni Affairs and the Alumni Association, we're building our infrastructure right now. We have plans very, very soon to start engaging the greater Houston community and our alumni about coming back to HCC and utilizing the services and the programs that we offer. that is in the works right now, Todd, and we look forward to engaging alumni in the coming months.
Well, we look forward to hearing from you as this moves forward with that process, and we will keep everyone up to date on the career fairs. James Mable, good to see you on the show. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, sir. Happy Friday.
Right. Happy Friday. Okay, we've got a few announcements to go over. First off, acid test, artist reception tonight. How fitting for Film Friday that there's an artist reception tonight. That's right, for the HCC exhibition of an award-winning short film by, you just might know who this is, Randy.
Jenny Waldo. My fellow faculty member, Jenny Waldo.
Yeah, it's a short, was screened at film festivals around the world, and she's made it into a feature film. Now, she's got a reception tonight, 6 p.m., and it's going to be at the HCC Northwest Spring Branch Main Gallery. It's free, no registrations necessary, and I would imagine, Randy, there will be food there.
I believe so, yes,
Yeah.
And good food.
Yeah, they usually have good food at these things. Anyway, check our post after the show for more info. And we're also, it's tax season. We're offering our students, faculty, and staff free tax income or income tax preparation.
That's right. The HCC financial coaches have partnered with AARP Tax Aid Foundation to offer free income tax filing. Any HCC student, faculty, or staff can book an appointment to have their taxes prepared for free by an AARP tax volunteer, 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Tuesday, February 27th at HCC East Side and HCC Central. And check our post after the show for more information. Okay.
There is a new FAFSA process out there. It's supposed to be streamlined to make things easier for you. But if you've got questions about the 24 to 25 FAFSA, Financial Aid is hosting another virtual Q&A session next week. It is Wednesday, February 28th in Zoom. Check our post after the show and you can register for this. And we've also got virtual workshops for our students as well.
That's right. HCC's academic success centers are hosting virtual workshops to learn study strategies and helpful academic habits. Couldn't we all use a few of those? 1 p.m. Wednesday, February 28th is how to build and manage effective study groups. And then 11 a.m. Thursday, February 29th is test taking strategies. Always great stuff coming out. So check our post after the show for more info.
All right, HCC's Northwest Center of Entrepreneurship and SCORE will continue its monthly digital marketing clinics by helping small businesses create a visual presence on Google Maps. Very important. Attendees will learn about a Google business profile, an easy-to-use tool for businesses and organizations to manage their online presence across Google. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, February the 28th. It's through Zoom. Check our post after the show where you can get more information and register for this virtual session. And believe it or not, Randy, you can still take classes before the semester ends and get those credit hours in.
That's right. It's not too late to get into Second Start. And, we always have 5 ways to learn: online on a schedule, hybrid, in-person, hybrid lab, to learn more about our programs. And also, it's never too early to start thinking about those summer programs, hcc.edu/apply.
Okay, make sure you register today. Coming up next week, Mental Health Monday, we'll have the return of Mental Health America's Houston chapter, and we'll have another student success story. This one coming from Coleman's phlebotomy program. I just can't speak this week. I'm having problems moving my mouth. So that's coming up. So we got a lot coming up. Do you have a big weekend planned?
Mostly rugby tournament, rugby game tonight, rugby tournament tomorrow, and Sunday I'm going to potluck. So the usual. You, anything fun? Yeah. Oh, and we'll be at the rodeo Sunday afternoon.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I think, the rodeo runs tomorrow. I didn't sign up for it, but I think I'm still going to go run tomorrow. So that's kind of what's on my agenda this week. You know me.
Well, it's nice to have a busy schedule, Todd.
Yeah. That's my busy schedule for the weekend. So, but there you go. Have a good weekend, Randy, and we'll see you next week, of course.
Of course. Looking forward to it.
And all of you have a safe weekend, a good weekend. Go Texan Day, and happy rodeo season. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.